Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Bibliophile's Bookcase. I'm your host, Erica the Bibliophile. So, before we jump into the episode, I'm trying something new where, I read the synopsis and then just jump into the story. Where normally I would do the synopsis, then go into a greeting, then break into the story. So, going forward, I think I'm just going to do the synopsis and then just jump right into the review instead of doing a greeting. So, hope you enjoy. For better or worse, that was a promise Denver and Kensa made, but it's a sentiment they somehow lost along the way. What started as a passionate wildfire has diminished to a flicker, all but snuffed out by unspoken fears, perceived betrayals, and a complete breakdown in communication. Can either of them tuck their egos away long enough to rekindle their flame? We're introduced to a woman by the name of Kenza, who is coming home after a very long and stressful day at work. And, she's trying to wind down in her home, and she walks in to see her soon to be ex husband in her house. And it's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, received something at the office today. And she's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Stop playing with me. Why the fuck would you have divorce papers delivered to me at my job? Like, everybody's gonna see this. You're kind of making a spectacle out of this." And Kenza tells her husband by the name of Denver, like, "I haven't seen you in how many months? Like, we don't communicate, we don't talk after." It's like a pause. Like, they won't say what happened, but you can kind of read between the lines as to what happened. So, and she throws his words back at him because he says something about her needing to grow up. He's not going to chase her like a child. So it's like, you said that to me. Whatever tragic event happened to us. And I haven't seen you for like 3 to 4 months. So why are we dragging this along? And Denver tells her, "Ain't nobody getting no divorce. So I don't even know why you did this." And he still doesn't want to have the conversation as to what he said and what happened between them. So she's like, "So you just want to stay in this cycle and I'm not doing it. Like, sign the papers and let's be done because I'm done with you. So it's over with." He's like, "Okay, whatever you want to believe." And I believe, yeah, they have sex. And she lets him know, like, that did not change anything. And he feels a way about that. But it's like, why would you think you showing up after 3 to 4 months and us having sex just automatically means that this marriage is back on track? And so he goes to talk to his brother and I believe his cousin. And, they're like, "We know how you are. You didn't probably try to attempt to listen to her. You didn't communicate. Like, and what happened?" Because once again, we're still not saying what happened, but it's like whatever happened between y'all happened, and y'all just let it go. Like, that was the end of the relationship, and ain't neither one of y'all trying to fix it. Um, but then also he does get a little pushback because what's his name? King. King was like, "I bet you she told you what the problem was. She tried to communicate with you, and you just blew her off." And basically, that's what happened because she did try to have the conversation, and he didn't respond. He's like, "Man, I'm not talking about this. I'm not going into that." And it's like, that's the problem right there. You don't want to talk, and I do, and you think we just gonna continue to go on as is, and that's not how this goes. So he comes up with the idea to kidnap her. So one day, once again, she done worked her fingers to the bone at work and gets into the back of the car thinking her driver is taking her home. And she pulls up, what's that thing called? Like, to the strip of an airport. And she's like, "This is not my house. Like, what the hell going on?" Come to find out, Denver is quote unquote kidnapping her. And she's like, "I'm not doing this. Like, I'll find somebody else to take me home. I don't know why you think I'm playing with you. This relationship is over with." And ooh, wait, let me back up because I forgot to mention. Um, he showed up to her job before he like went to talk to his cousins. He showed up to her job and like gave her a head at her job, and she's like, "Thanks, but you can leave." And that's what it was. He was like, "I just did," and she's like, "That doesn't change anything. Like, okay, thank you for your services, but that don't mean that this marriage is back on point." So then he goes have a drink, and then he kidnaps her, and on the flight, he like feeds her. It's very intimate, and they finally have this conversation of like was it a year ago? Not a year, but it was like a short amount of time ago. She got pregnant, and unfortunately, she miscarried the baby. And the doctors told her, and everybody else told her, it's like there was nothing that you did wrong. It was literally like it just happens, and there's nothing you could do about it. But of course, as a woman who just lost her baby, she don't want to hear that. She's like, I must have did something, and it's my fault, and now we don't have our baby, and that sent her into a depression. And it feels like Denver wasn't there. And I guess when she finally, do I want to say, came out of the depression, or even just tried to lean on Denver, he wasn't there. And she tried to get him to open up and talk to her, and he's just like, "Man, I got work to do. I'm not trying to deal with this emotions and all this shit." And when she laid it out on the line, that's when he told her, like, "I'm not gonna chase you like a child." That broke the relationship, because it's like, I'm dealing with the fact of losing our child. I feel like you don't want me anymore. You don't talk to me anymore. So what's the point? And is basically a breakdown in communication is what messed up their relationship, and them both dealing with the hurt over losing their baby. And you know so now that they're talking about it, they're slowly working their way back to being together. And they do decide to be together, and they have uh what do you want to call it, because they're already married, like they never got a divorce. So a vow renewal in Vegas, and that was pretty much it. Um, which pissed me. I mean, it was a great book, but it's just like when you think about it, it's like all of this could have been avoided if y'all just sat down and talked about what was wrong. And it's just like, of course, I just lost a baby. My feelings are hurt about this, and I need my husband to comfort me, and you're not doing that. And of course, him as a man, it's just like, I couldn't say this, I couldn't express this, and I had to work, like basically all that type of shit. So it's just like whatever. But in the end, they work it out, and everything is right, which leads into book number 2, where two best friends wake up in a bed together, and it seems like after celebrating Denver and Kensa's vow renewal, they got married. So let's see what happens. This wasn't what "keep your friends close" was supposed to mean. But now that that line has been crossed, can they ever make their way back to the 20-year friendship they've been building? Or, better question, is that what either of them really want? So, diving straight into the second book, we have Desiree and Tracy, who wake up in Vegas in a bed, and it seems as if they got married. And Desiree is best friends with Nessa and Kensa. Now, Kensa, it's Kensa who has a sister by the name of Nessa and Tracy. So, and they've all been friends since college. And this is mind blowing because it's for Desiree and Tracy, because it's like, we've been friends for so long. We never crossed this line. We never thought we would cross this line. Like, how the fuck did this happen? And she has a gorgeous ring on her finger. They have sex again, and Tracy is all for trying it. And she goes by Des a lot in the movie. I'm in the movie, Lord. Cross fingers. Hope it happened one day. Um uh Jesus, not I messed myself all up. Uh Des in the book, and she's like, no way, we've been friends for so long, and plus let's go all the way back to college where Nessa told Des, like, do not go after my brother. I like Desiree better. Um she was known as a heartbreaker. Technically, she still is a heartbreaker. She's like, she doesn't have time for a relationship. She doesn't want to be in a relationship. So she's not going to waste her time. And so Nessa told her back then, like, you can do that shit with all these other niggas, but leave my brother the fuck alone. And Nessa even told her, she was like, if you play my brother, I will beat your ass. And Desiree, she's always kept that in the back of her mind. And it's like, first of all, Tracy don't even look at me like that, so I'm not worried about him like that. And I want to protect my friendship that I have with Nessa and with Kensa. Now Kensa really don't care too much, but it's just the principle of the matter. And at one point Tracy was married. He has a is he 18? Yeah, I believe him and his ex-wife have an 18-year-old son. She's the boy's godmother. So it's just like it has literally never crossed her mind at any point that they would cross that line. And Tracy is like, I'm all for it. And ain't no going back to just being friends, even though Desiree wants to ignore it. So the majority of the book is spent with him basically being kept a secret until everybody around her has to tell her, like, girl, we been new, like, we see, like, ain't no way you gonna keep this a secret. Um and she agrees to be in a relationship, and like they actually work towards marriage. And he actually tells her, like, even though he was married and they never like did anything, he has always had these feelings for her, but because they both thought it would never happen, they never said anything. But it's like, girl, I've been feeling you, I've been wanting you. Now we tired of playing games. Boom bow, let's get into it. And while she was trying to figure out those feelings that she had for Tracy, she was basically like distancing herself from Nessa. And Nessa even went to Tracy like, did I do something to Des? Because, she's not answering my call. She won't say anything. And Tracy is just like, no, not that I know of, while trying to downplay the change in their relationship. And when it comes to the light of them being in a relationship, Nessa like basically jokes with her, like, didn't I tell you if you mess with my brother, I will beat your ass? And Desiree has to tell her, I was never scared, like, you weren't just gonna whoop my ass, but I valued your friendship more than even attempting a relationship with somebody who I wasn't even sure was interested in me at the time. But don't get it twisted. You weren't just gonna whoop my ass though. But yeah, everything is great in the world. Oh, but let's go back to the beginning though, just a little bit. Cause when Desiree, like, she was denying everything, and it's just like, no, this can't be right. What happened? Basically, what did you do to me? And Tracy has to pull out his phone and like watch that video. And it was her that initiated everything. Like, they were drinking some liquor that everybody around is like, damn, I forgot his name. But the guy in the book who's the maker of the book, they're like, he need to be banned. Ain't no way he should be able to sell this shit. Cause everybody got a story of like the next day you wake up like, what the fuck did I do? How did this happen? basically not remembering anything until somebody tells you, like, you was fucked up last night. Um, but yeah, so they finally come together, and even Tracy's ex-wife is supportive because it's like they tried their relationship, but it wasn't good for them. So they're friends. They were able to remain friends and just know that being married and being in a relationship was not for them. She even supports his relationship with Desiree. So, boom bow, happily ever after with them. And this leads into the third and final book of Nessa and her biker boo, who everybody knows she has a crush on, but then at the same time she's trying to act like she ain't studying that man or she don't want nothing to do with him. But it's like, baby, you are literally lusting after this man, and everybody knows. And when he like turns on the charm a little bit, you running scared. Like, come on now, don't do that. Don't throw the rock and hide your hand. Everything is all fun and games until the living on the wild side becomes the rule instead of the exception. It's good to be bad, within reason, of course. And in this case, it's very, very good. Okay, so we're wrapping up this series with the last and final book of Vegas Nights, where Miss Nessa has a crush on our local bad boy, and everybody knows this. But when he comes into her shop, and his name is Blue, excuse me, Blue comes into her shop looking to buy a bunch of bikes because he's the president of a motorcycle club, and their bikes just to get like the newbies started on, because she tries to sell him on like a, what is it, like a more expensive, like a better model of bike. And he's like, baby, I know all about that, but these are for newbies that are basically going like crash and burn because they practicing on them. I don't need them. But because it was a big order of like what, like 500 bikes or 50 bikes or something like that. It was something with a five, and he's also like flirting with her at the same time, but she's trying to blow him off like, psh, please, never. I would never get involved with a thug, and it's just like, but you lusting after this man. Now all of a sudden he a thug, girl, boo. And he basically shuts her down and get like, she rides motorcycles too. She's described to have like a beautiful bike, which I always thought was so cool, like women who ride bikes. But riding a motorcycle period seems amazing. I've never rode on one. um but it just sounds cool. So what is it, he gets her to come with him. Like he pulls up to, was it a bar? Yeah, it was a bar. Um, oh, real quick, let's jump back to book number two. Cause I think it's like at the end where everybody's having dinner together and they're all supposed to meet up. But Nessa comes in like super late, girl look flustered. She got hickeys all on her neck. They're like, oh, not Miss Nessa done got her some. And so then we jump into this book, and it's like intertwining the stories of how it leads up to that. So her flirting with Blue, um, they did a little something something, and that caused her to be late for the dinner, and she like rushes in and has dinner with the family while everybody looking at her like, girl, the fuck happened to you? And really this and no shade, Miss what is it, Christina? Miss Christina C. Jones. No shade. Please don't take this as shade. This is just a smut book. Like, ain't really no story to this book. It's like they was flirting, feeling each other. Anytime he pulled up and told her to come on, baby basically came and went with him. They had sex. Um, he's into BDSM, so he done tied our girl up, gave her a little something, something, something on her way, then came back. Like, actually, because he's usually like a one and done type of guy, but of course our girl is different, and he like her, so they making it like a permanent thing, and pretty much it. Like, really, the book is them having sex. And if you're new to my podcast, this may be your first episode. I don't discuss sex scenes in great detail. First of all, because I'm not good at it. And second of all, you can go read the book for that. But yeah. And with saying that, the third book was my favorite because it was good writing and good detail. Um, so go pick that up. And that's pretty much it. Um, so that's why I combined all three books into one episode because first of all, they're short stories and they're really good. It wasn't a need to separate the two. But this is the Vegas Nights series. I hope you enjoyed. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.